everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call, a Star Citizen podcast where myself and a very intense Croncy go over the kind of goings-on with Star Citizen, but the Answer the Call part is where we open our Discord up to you, and you share your opinions on the subjects that we're talking about today. Obviously, Croncy couldn't make it today. This is kind of our meme image because one time his camera froze for when he couldn't make it, and or when he was here, and then we've used it anytime he can't make it. Instead of just having me solo on camera, we can always have Croncy here in spirit. But this is where we kind of go over things, and we open up the calls to you. This week, I was actually planning on canceling because I also have a family gathering, so we're getting... I'm starting the podcast an hour early just so I'm able to do it, and I was planning on canceling, but then this came up. Huge Wikelo changes that kind of... are not only like, wow, they listened to the feedback, and wow, they adjusted that stuff quite quickly once we knew they heard our feedback, but it's just what it should be, and that's really good. So in case you guys aren't aware, I am going to bring up an image on the screen here. I don't have the ability to like let Croncy talk while I'm bringing it up. So I wasn't sure when I was going to this, but here it is. So Elliot posted on Spectrum, like right away before a patch came out on Thursday, to say, hey, no more random rewards. They're going to become deterministic. You know what you're going to get when you accept the mission. And then they also made separate contract tabs on the Mobiglass. So there's ship missions, and then there's everything else. They separated them into two tabs. So vehicles and other items, right? And then they're also working on other ways to improve things. But none of that is until after 4.2.1. So we'll see when they get to this. Now, last week, I believe it was, I asked you guys a lot of questions about, like, are they overusing Wikelo, do you think? And I felt that way because Wikelo was RNG based and they were never putting ships into the shops. So as far as like things that you might want to talk about today, do you like this, right? Would you rather them also put ships on the shop at the same time? I've seen that question asked quite a bit. What else? What about the recipes? Because not only, unfortunately, I think in some cases, did they, do a really good job, and now they've separated everything out into an individual mission, but they also changed a lot of the recipes on these things. Some of them becoming quite excessive. So a fortune will cost 6 Wikelo favor, no big deal, right? Everybody's able to get Wikelo favor quite easily, but then 1 pure Karenite. Now, we've not been able to see pure Karenite yet because it unfortunately, Hathor just doesn't work. They've had a couple of PTU patches, and you cannot pull the battery out of the Hathor battery area. So you can't turn on the OLP, which means you can't open the cave. And if you can't open the cave, you can't get any Karenite, let alone pure Karenite. So that's behind PvP, technically. Right? Favors are not. The government cartography agency and Tavaran war service stuff could be considered behind PvP. Same with the platoon medal, right? But the big one here that they've changed that has caught everyone kind of off guard and honestly has caused a bit of controversy is Comp Board 7 being used for a lot of ships. Is the Saber Peregrine's a racing ship, right? Why would I need a comp board to turn in for a racing ship? I shouldn't need a comp board. That's kind of silly. I get it maybe for the Firebird, but I don't really understand it for anything else. Also, 12 comp boards for a Scorpius. 12 numbers, and to be clear, number 7 comp boards for a Hornet. That's a lot. Okay? 40 for an F8C. Stealth. None for the regular one. Very odd. Very odd choices. If you are not familiar with where this comp board comes from Obituary, and you go all the way through the entire contested zone loop to get to the end. That is where this is. Now, what happens at the end is you have to use an elevator to get there. There is only one entrance. Can I post this in chat? Yeah, I will. I'll post it in both. There's only one entrance into the contested zone, and it's an elevator that a door just opens up, and you can be easily camped. Okay? I know the items aren't for him to build it, but, like, it doesn't matter. Just use common sense here. This is crafting for a player right now. It does, like, stop. He's an alien. It's not real life. Somebody in chat said the items aren't necessarily for him to build it. It's what he wants for barter. Sure. Okay? It really doesn't matter. It's also behind a red door, right? So you need a red key and things like that. It just hear me out about Comp Board 7. It's way more than locked behind a PvP scenario. It is not only locked behind a PvP scenario, but it's all the way at the end of the contested zone loop, which is quite challenging to finish for a lot of people. Quite bugged as well, right? Here's the YouTube link for what we were looking at, the spreadsheet. And it is the most easily camped card there possibly could be. So I'll give you an example of what I did when our org did it. There are giant weapons that you can't even put in a freight elevator that spawn there in Hangar 30. And we put them in front of the elevator, so you have to move them or go under them to get into the area. And then there are explosive containers in Hangar 30. So we piled a bunch of explosive containers in front of the elevator. The moment the elevator opens up, you're like alerted. And then you wait until the person gets close to the boxes, and then you blow them up and he dies. Or you just camp with a couple people and they die. It's the most camped one possible. Getting 12 of these, if you're not on a dead server, would be very, very challenging. So if you want to use a contested zone key, my suggestion would be key number 5 or key number 6. That is the Ruined Station one, which is more of like a PvP arena type area, and there's multiple entrances, and it's way less campy and problematic. It's a lot better way of doing it if you're gonna use those. But then the other question that I would want to ask you guys and hear what you want to see is, again, a lot of this stuff is in PvP or contested area. I don't want to use PvP, but often contested areas where you might meet somebody that's friendly, or you're most likely going to meet somebody that is in competition with you for these items and is going to kill you so you can't get them and they can, right? There's going to be PvP at these locations. So I want to hear what you think. I want to hear how you're feeling about this stuff. Do you like that they split everything out? Do you like the recipes? What would you like to see changed to the recipes? Now, I asked a developer, how hard is it to add something to this recipe? And they said hard. And I'm like, it shouldn't be number 1. Number 2, if it's hard now, I really hope it's a priority to resolve that as quickly as possible. Right? That's my hope. But I don't know. I just don't know. And my hope would be that you're able to add a lot more to this, create a lot more variety. Things like the Star Lancer Max, I would hope would be more cargo related turn-ins to get a cargo ship. Constellation Taurus, kind of something similar, right? And if it's a little bit of PvP stuff and a little bit of PvE stuff for each recipe, then what you have is a scenario where PvP players have to interact with PvE players, and PvE players have to interact with PvP players. And we're starting to see something on, in-game chat. Have you noticed a lot of people spamming, selling this? A lot of people spamming, selling that. There's this in-game economy that's just appearing out of nowhere because of Wikelo. So it's incredibly powerful, this barter guy. It's very clear that it's changed the game completely and the way people think about it. They're actively willing to trade with each other without a single trade window or any ability to do any of that. And it's really, really impressive what's happened. It just is. It's beautiful. And yeah, trade chat needs to be a thing. Agreed. But it isn't for now, and that's okay. What are you blocking in general chat? Some people who are saying some nasty things, right? So we think that they've overdone the rewards or the turn-ins a little bit for this. So that's what I want to hear about. I want to hear your... this is not really a PvP versus PvE discussion. I don't want it to be. But it's going to be a little bit hard to avoid where... it's a lot of PvP stuff. And I don't think it should be mostly PvP for everything at Wikelo. I think it should be a good mix, and it doesn't really feel like a good mix right now. So that's where I'll leave my opinions and my thoughts. We got 3 callers. I might take one more here. It almost bothers me that you're surprised at this new player economy. Sorry, I'm reading chat, which I don't normally do in the podcast. I'm just alone, so I feel like I'm just streaming. I'm not surprised about it. I'm happy that it's here. I'm not surprised. I've been trying to create it for 5 years, man. I'm not surprised by it whatsoever. I just think it's awesome. All right, so we have our first caller who I'm going to bring in, and it's PC 101. PC, can you hear me? Oh, I probably won't be able to hear you. Hold on. Mic check, PC.
Mic check.
All right, yeah, I hear you. So, what do you want to talk about on this? How you feeling about everything?
Exactly what you didn't want to talk about, the PvP side of it.
I don't necessarily not want to talk about it. I think it's a part of it, but I don't want this to turn into PvP bad, PvE good, or PvE good kind of thing. It's not about that. It's just I think we need a balance here.
I'll try and be short with that then. The PvP, people are annoyed that they can't get the materials because it's tied behind a PvP area and need to get over themselves. The game's an open world sandbox, is PvP, live with it. Like, for example, I've been playing with Cutlet and Dark Lord, a load of people from Star Citizen on Dune Awakening. As of 3 days ago, we pretty much all stopped playing it because the developers pandered to the PvE players not being able to get the resources from the PvP zone. So they turned the whole half the PvP zone into PvE. They literally cut the map in half, literally killing people who enjoy the PvP aspect. So I don't want the same thing to happen in Star Citizen. I can't get the materials, and they just pander to those people and make every area like a PvE area. I don't think that is helpful. I think you're going to kill off a section of players who enjoy PvP.
Okay, let me jump in for a second, though. Star Citizen can't do that for the same reasons that you stated at the beginning. It's an open world sandbox kind of thing. Like, it's not going to have... Like, Dune, the whole beginning of Dune is in a straight PvE zone, right? There's no PvP kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very PvE heavy.
Yeah, so it's like 2 totally different games. I don't know about those comparisons, if they make sense. Let me try to make my intentions clear of what I was kind of going for is... why not have RMC be part of it? Why not have more than just Quantanium be part of it in terms of commodities? Now you have the ability to like buy them from an NPC outpost, mine them yourself, find them in cargo missions, right? That's what I mean by PvE. It's, can you be killed by other players while doing that at any point? Yes. Will you? Probably not, right? And then what about turn-ins like armors, FPS weapons that you can get off of NPCs at bunkers? I just think they're underutilizing what the average PvE player would do in Star Citizen on a regular basis, and they're heavily weighted on these events that were largely PvP that they're trying to do this with. And I don't necessarily agree that it should be, all PvE or all PvP for each turn in. Like, why should the Intrepid have something that is PvP focused, right? It's kind of weird.
It should make sense for the ship you're getting. If it's a heavy combat like ship, like a Scorpius, I think maybe it should have some stuff like you need to get from a PvP zone. But say something like the mining ship starts with P. I'm blanking.
Prospector, it's not Prospector isn't
Prospector
part of it,
should be all like something like Prospector should be all like mining materials.
Yeah.
It should make sense for the rewards, the components you have to give.
Or, I mean, it doesn't have to make entire sense for it, right? Like, I think it's totally fine to have, I'm trying to look at some of the maybe more PvP focused stuff. Like, if you wanted a Radiated Valakar Pearl to be a part of a turn-in that is not PvP focused, I think that that's okay. Because what players need to get used to and understand, if you're not PvP inclined, there are people spamming in. This is why I brought this up. There are people spamming in Gen Chat. There's a website called UEX where you can, just Google UEX Star Citizen, where you can find players who are willing to do the PvP for you and sell you these items in game for your credits that you have in game, and you can earn those credits any way that you want. You don't have to ever PvP, and you can get every item that is at a PvP zone, including the number 7 keycard, if you really want it, right? I think that the value of that thing is going to be insane, because it's going to be so difficult to get. But
now, one of the problems another problem I have with this system is, yes, it's a PvP zone, but those zones are broken. You're tying commodities that you can't get because you can't get to them. Like you experienced the elevator, the fuse doors this morning.
Yeah.
You talked about the Harfor laser not working. It's like, rather than these items being fixed, they're immediately moving on to the next event. I'm really annoyed that they talk about the monthly content, and they're pushing the devs to make this monthly content, but they're not going back and fixing the old content because they don't have time, because they're immediately pushing the devs into the next stuff.
Yeah, it never worked in the first place. Right.
I don't like. But I like that Elliot has improved the mission, how you hand it stuff in. I'd rather it not be tied behind missions. I'd rather it just be like a terminal where you trade those components. I don't like it being tied behind the mission system.
I think they do too, but I don't think it's an option at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't think they want it working the way it does at all, right? But when you have to put out monthly content every month, then when are you going to have time to make a proper system? That's also, I would consider it a feature, right? Which is, this is not the year of features, so expecting
they
an entirely
they are
new
working on features.
Yeah, they say that exactly. It's just like, it's an alpha, or you don't understand game development. They use it whenever it's convenient for them, right? Not when it's makes logical sense. But
I guess the last thing I wanted to point out is, I don't care about Wikelo or the stuff like the stuff that they're putting out. I don't think I give a damn about. Like, I'm sick of heavy armor. I know that's the meta, but everything they do is heavy armor. The next event they're doing is all heavy armor. It's all skins for the same guns. Where's my skin for my FS9? I'd like some more. I'd like other stuff other than armor. Oh, actually, I'd like some custom backpacks. Like we haven't really had any new backpacks. Some cool looking backpacks. Just other stuff than the same armor class and the same guns.
Yeah, I can't agree with you anymore. Like, of course, I would love that. And like, it doesn't just have to be skins or anything either. It can be cool little items and things like that, or it could be, I don't know, it's kind of hard to do rewards right
Hanger
now.
flare.
Hanger flare maybe, but I just think I don't know. I like the idea of making whatever it is, it just can't be hanger locked or whatever, or like permanently on your account. That's my whole thing right now, is that they've been constantly like adding things permanently to your account and not
Yeah, so
making
by the
like
time you
not
get
what
to 1.0, you
there's
already have like umpteen
everything.
ships, umpteen armor, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do? What do you play? You just don't do anything. It's just weird. So
But also,
that's kind of my
that
feelings
has
there on
this
that.
other side. Like, if stuff, why bother earning? Why get something in the game when it's not permanent? It's like, why would I do Wikelo just to get something for one patch? So I mean, that's something in the future, but I don't know. I always
Yeah, I mean, you're playing an alpha, so I don't know. It's one of those
yeah.
things where it's not going to work perfectly, and it then don't play, right? Like you're playing Dune right now, then don't play.
Yeah, you played the game. You've played more Star Citizen today than I have all month.
Yeah,
I've just been playing Dune
and
because it's a working game.
I've been playing Star Citizen nonstop. Like people are like, "Oh, try Dune," and I don't want to, because I've been building. Like I'm going to start it on Tuesday, but I've been working on my like hardcore rule set kind of thing finally, and I think I finally found one that I'm super happy with. After all these years, I've really wanted to make it work, and I've never quite found it, and I think I finally found it. So, I'm gonna go hard on that, and that's where Wikelo like is a huge piece of that puzzle for me, because how else do I get ships, right? It's CZs and it's Wikelo, so that's my options.
All right, cool.
Yeah, man.
I'll leave it there. Other than Elliot, fix the game. Have a good one. Bye
All
bye.
right, bye bye. Talk to you later, BC. All right, and our next caller, we'll bring him in, is an actual cannibal. Cannibal, can you hear me? Oh,
yeah.
I can hear you.
Do I sound okay? I changed my mic again.
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right, sick.
So, what do you want to talk about?
Sorry, I'm still on. All right, I paused the thing. I'm kind of still on the whole like Weekend Warriors thing. And I think that the changes to Wikelo have really helped with that. So I'm kind of happy with the changes to Wikelo, removing a lot of the gambling.
Yeah.
But I do think that they should retain some amount of gambling.
Yeah. Well, they may have. What's the deal with the? Let me take a look at one of these things.
So let me ramble while you. I was thinking they have like a recycling kind of thing where you have too many of one Wikelo thing that you don't need. You just throw it in the community bin and get something back out of it.
A lot of people have been bringing that up too. There's 3 turn-ins for ship size parts, and your mic is making some weird ass noise.
Let me turn on CRISPR.
Okay. It says trade for useful parts, trade for useful parts, trade for useful parts, right? And they're each different turn-ins, and you get some. You don't get all of these, right? So you get one of them when you do this turn-in, I think. So there's a little gambling there, but not. I agree. Gambling is probably not the right word, but more like like a little RNG would be nice, like super surprise. So I worked a little bit and I got this really good thing. So
yeah, and it's just like sometimes you have crafted all the things you want to do, and you have some leftover materials. Let's throw this in here. Maybe we'll get something that we can trade a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the main issue is, locking a lot of this stuff. I know that we're not like trying to disparage like the PvP PvE stuff. But when you only have like 2 to 3 hours a week to test the game, right? Um, maybe endgame content, maybe Wikelo content just isn't for you,
Yeah,
but
it
they have
isn't.
marketed it. They've marketed it as something that everyone should be doing towards the end game, right? So
I
it's just a confusing intention, you know.
I don't know what you mean by that. Like
Uh,
it is very clearly not the end game, and it is
sure.
very clearly not the only barter that you're going to have, and it is very clearly just the start of this. So I'm not
Hmm.
sure
Well, it's
why
just
would
from
like it's the current end game, yeah, I guess,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I suppose so. Like beyond reputation grinding, you're doing these various tasks around Pyro and Stanton to try and just gain Wikelo favors for, but the end game is to get cash, I guess, right? Just accumulate UEC indefinitely.
There is no end game. That's
That's true.
my
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you're right. I just tried. Um, I do hope that this event going forward will help. We'll have some options where, like, there's just kind of a community reward, you know, that they haven't really talked about. Like, everyone who contributed to X
Oh yeah, we'll see.
company that wins, you know,
We'll
everyone who
see what
contributed at least a little bit.
we'll see what happens with that, because whoever wins the contract might change the way the game
Yeah.
plays. I think we're going to be able to get all the rewards for everybody,
Yeah.
but you're only going to have one winner. So what that winner means could be pretty cool. So hopefully we see
Yeah.
some competition, people competing over the turn-ins and stuff like that. That could turn into PvP too, just to be clear. And I'm sure
Oh
people are
yeah.
going to get mad about it.
But I think there's enough PvE options that people aren't gonna be super mad, and there's enough PvP options that I think this is a much more balanced version of
There's a
Survivor
million
Die.
places to turn in. Like,
Yeah, and there's plenty of ways to like use combat to get what you need.
yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
I just like coming from like other games like Helldivers.
Mm-hmm.
They have their large, you know, they have their large orders that they have the community like get together, and if you just only had a few minutes to like participate in it, as long as you do a single mission, you don't even have to do a single mission, you still get the rewards as long as the community completed the mission. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of hope that they start to look at that sort of stuff um for Star Citizen. Just
Yeah, I again, just because there
in
is no game, it's
yeah,
so challenging, because it's like,
yeah,
what are the rewards in Helldivers? Is it like the points so you can
exactly.
go down
Yeah,
the right
yeah,
and get
exactly.
certain
Yeah, you're
things?
right.
But it's like we don't have any clear progression system, because the progression system is
Exactly.
on the pledge store, or
Yeah.
so it's kind of
Yeah, it's kind
I
of
don't know.
difficult to like entice people to come and test the game
It's
because they
difficult to
want to
give them
come and
feedback too.
yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Like I think I have like two or three uh things on the issue council that just haven't been addressed. They just been closed. No
Yep.
comment. I'm like, all right, sick.
Yeah, classic.
Um, but
So
I'm pretty okay with the Wikelo changes. I think this is a good change. I think that it'll take some tuning once they kind of figure out how people are. They can visually see how people are like acquiring things and progressing things.
yeah.
I think the main issue with like UEX is that it's a third party program. People kind of we really need a dedicated like trade system that people can feel safe using. You know.
Yeah.
Um, Not to say that like, hey, I don't really appreciate entering someone's personal hangar and them pulling something up and me pulling it back down. I think that's super cool. Very back alley. But I think
Also
for
very
also very
not
janky.
safe, jank, yeah, like weird.
Yeah. If we were trading drugs, that'd be cool. But for like selling
Like
for selling
Quantanium.
like parts, yeah,
Yeah.
selling Quantanium or tin, like it we really do need like a formal trade system for people to feel secure in that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Um yeah, and separation of chats, like I'm used to I'm used to Eve
It's
having
time.
like mining chat, trade chat,
Yep.
help chat,
It's time
uh
probably now that we're seeing
scope.
stuff getting spammed.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
time.
they'll want to sell this list of things. I've seen it. Yeah, this is a lot going on. But
Yeah. It'll be cool. But all right, Cannibal, I guess that's kind of
yeah, I agree.
where we ended,
We
but
should hit the road, so to speak.
all right.
Uh I'm
So
gonna go see if I can make my mole do things.
good luck. Good luck. We'll catch you.
Thanks.
And yeah, don't stock up on the 4.2.1 stuff. I have a funny feeling they're gonna
Oh,
change it.
damn it.
Is that what you're doing?
Uh,
I thought that's what you might be doing. I don't
I
know
was kind
anything.
of
I don't
I'm
know
kind of
anything.
prepping my fit to like I'm kind of prepping a fit so that I have stuff ready for when because I have friends who want to do stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to either do a bunch of trade stuff and eventually they're going to ask me, "Hey, what do we need to do to go mine some stuff?" And I'll have stuff ready for them. And that's my goal for today.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Too
Sounds good,
easy.
brother. Catch you. All right. And then our next and final caller for the day for our little short podcast is Sharks Bite, excuse me.
How's it going, Mike?
How's it going?
Oh, well, on in-game, not great. I had a server error that lasted over an hour before I just Alt F4'd and got off last night, and then I got on and within 3 minutes had a server error, so
Yikes.
hitting PTU. But as far as like the whole PvP versus PvE access balance thing, I'm not good at PvP. Anyone who's played with me, against me, or watched me play knows that. Like even in dedicated shooters, my KDA is like 0.75 at best. And so I still don't have a problem with having things that are dedicated PvP just because of what you were saying earlier. There's
Just
always
trade.
people spam UEX
Yeah.
and yeah, the ability to trade stuff with other people. That's a good thing. That encourages community.
Yeah.
Some of the MMOs that I've played, it's like, well, your items that you get as a drop, they're not 100% class locked, but the chance of you getting, like, if you're playing a wizard, the chances of you getting a drop for wizards is lower than it is for the other classes. So you're encouraged to go trade with people to get wizard gear, and they're encouraged to play with you to get their sorcerer or whatever fighter gear.
Exactly.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, the amount of explanations I've had to make about that is crazy. Like
Yeah.
how I've had to explain that to people is like, you do not have to participate in this stuff. You just want to, and you're mad that you can't. That is your
Yeah.
issue here, and you are using this to create form that argument for yourself because you're just angry or bad or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Or
like just
scared.
as an example, me and Buddy were looting one of the data centers because NPCs weren't spawning. Note, if they're still not spawning, I haven't checked since the hotfix or whatever maintenance thing they did. If you go try to enter the code key to get the other key to print, they'll start spawning. You get the lockdown thing, and everyone starts trying to kill you. So prepare for that. But we had looted the entire thing and then were there right as the clock rolled over. and stuff started like respawning and whatever. Had a bunch of cool rifles, had the key generated, fought everything, and then we look outside and my tac's gone, and we had our 8 SCU box filled with all of the gear we'd looted for the last 4 hours, and then I got shot in the head, and then he got shot in the head, and someone said, "Hey, thanks for the free gear, easy loot, bye." And that was how our game session ended the other day. But that's still like I still
Hooray!
had fun looting. I was pissed off that like he didn't say, "Hey, give me 100K or I'll kill you," or he like literally just
He
blew up
doesn't
my
have
ship,
to.
blew up my spawn. But yeah, he doesn't have to, and yeah, he was really lucky. He got like probably several mil worth of gear. I was lucky. I was actually wearing the lightning shooting rifle. I forget what it's called. Like I got to keep that, but I lost almost all of the other cool gear that I looted. Um, server errors have been bad. Why can't we get the Wikelo katana yet? He has it in there, which means they have the model. Give me katana. What else?
What do you think about
Oh, the other.
the amount of turn-ins to get this stuff? Most
Um,
people play
some of them
MMOs
seem
fairly solo.
appropriate. Some of them seem way excessive,
Yeah.
and like it is true that you can get the Ace Pilot helmets from boxes now.
Yeah.
I've pulled
Yep.
2 from boxes,
I've pulled a couple
but
as well.
still, like getting 30 or 50 of them seems insane to me. And yeah, you can buy them from other players, and but I've been doing the missions that are supposed to spawn the Ace Pilots, and I still haven't gotten one. Let's see. The other thing, as far as like, go ahead.
The amount of comp boards and medals,
Yeah,
the
that's
pristine
that's
medals,
insane.
is wild.
Yeah. And also it makes it really hard to test in the PTU. Like what they should do is put in the patch notes, hey, we've dropped the required turn-ins to 2%, so it still requires some activity to go get them, but you can test the actual turn-in mechanic.
I believe they did this
Because
when he first came in initially.
Oh, I know that they made certain things lower, or they upped the rewards. They did something, but right now, if they're wanting us to test specific mechanics, but it's like end game, there's no way to spend enough time in the PTU, even if you had like 30 Evo people all grinding it out on a non-PvP server. There's no way to test some of the higher level stuff, which is why it came in with so many bugs. And then I've also been asking them for years in multiple ways, talk to people directly at SitCon and at Bar Citizens, CIG staff, as well as on Spectrum, about some sort of either a bounty system, not the way that they do it now with the way that they give away ships and stuff is kind of ridiculous, because you don't know what you're getting. There's no, other than the 10 people that they're giving a ship to, there's no other reward or anything for anyone who is spending hours in the PTU, spending time on Spectrum and Issue Council.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be a dedicated job a lot of the time, even just to get certain issues confirmed. There are a few ships, for example, that when you're in third person, cause massive glare with either their lights, or like if you're in the 85X, the afterburner. On your screen, you see all the fingerprints and scratches and marks and whatever that aren't on your real monitor, but they're on your third person view monitor. And
That's
it
weird.
makes it almost unplayable in third person. And that's a bug that's been around for 2 years now, at least.
What are you flying an 85X for? That's your
love
biggest
that
mistake.
ship. No, the 85X, it has a second person who can control the turret. The turret's now size 2. So you have 2 size 1 and 2 size 2. They're all gimbaled. You can use it as a runabout. It's super efficient as far as fuel and everything. It's great. And it fits into almost anything.
I'm mostly just memeing, but yeah,
I know.
But I'm also not. That's probably the reason why it's not fixed, is because it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't have any skins or anything either. But
it's not a widely flown ship, right? So they
But the Nursa, I believe it is the lights that come on that do the same kind of glare effect. There's several other ships that do it. It's just one of the examples where I notice it the most.
Okay, but like seriously, is glare on a fucking 2 vehicles the most important thing to get fixed when
No,
they have
I'm just
limited,
saying that
right?
any kind of bugs getting confirmed is a job, and
Yes.
that's one that seems like it should be really easy. That it's just removing the third person glare. Honestly, I don't see why, other than the cinematics, it's there to begin with. And if it's that bad on anything, it's obstructing gameplay.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, that's the classic, like,
but
should be really easy, but we don't actually know if it is or if it isn't kind of thing.
of course, yeah.
So,
but yeah, what I was trying to get at is we need some way to, again, without completely ruining future gameplay for people, but give people enough of a reward for coming in and testing PTU. And I've said in the past, like either AUEC per hour or some sort of credits that you can turn in for skins or something like that, where if it's AUEC per hour, it doesn't have to be big, but it's something that whenever 1.0 drops, you'll have a little bit of an advantage because you spent so much time testing and you're going to spend it. It's going to go into money sinks at some point. It's not going to be permanent after 1.0 drops or whatever.
That. I don't think it should be any ships at all. I think it should be straight up a skin for an armor, which we know doesn't exist right now, but or may never.
It should.
Oh, skin for a ship, skin for an armor, skin for a weapon, or an actual like trophy hanger flare type thing. And because here, like MMOs are very simple, man. If something is rare, it's awesome.
People want it.
People want it.
What do you think about What do you think about
There's only going to be a handful of those
like
in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you think about like similar to the Chairman's Club or the Mile High Club, where they have a organization or some sort of a group where you gain reputation in game for like maybe ability to purchase stuff or whatever, but you do that through playing in the PTU, reporting bugs, because even after the game goes live, they're going to have PTU and they're going to have bugs and stuff to report.
I don't necessarily hate that idea.
Because that way you could potentially get certain flares unlocked the ability to purchase them with in-game credit, but the reputation is what you are earning by spending time in the PTU.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would be gating it for a really valuable participation. Like, I mean, they've said it, and I believe it probably even more than them sometimes. The amount of time and effort that people are putting into the PTU and the issue council reports and confirming bugs, like, it's a lot of work. I spent 1.5 years doing basically only bug testing. That's when I got my Evo invite. And even now, I'm still on probably 5-6 hours a week, if not more, just bug testing and replicating stuff. And I think that it has been under rewarded in the past, and one of the reasons they have so much problem getting concurrency is because they aren't they're not making sure that the people who are doing it feel appreciated, and so you get this burnout and the people who are like, oh yeah, I'm Evo now, but I barely play at all. When those are the people who have historically been the most dedicated testers and like the people who make the spreadsheets, like Chris, he made the Wikelo sheet that you were looking at the other day. And like if you look at his sheets, the amount of work that he puts in, it's like I've seen people put less work than that into their actual jobs. And that's the kind of stuff that like it makes it easier to test. He has sheets of where to find loot, of how to find locations, of what the loot is at the locations, the reputation you need, whether it's hostile or not. And so like those kind of community stuff are mostly made by the same type of people who are also putting in a bunch of work testing bugs and stuff, because that's where you find the bugs.
Yeah, I see somebody in chat say, why not do like a PTU store? And that, I think I also think like what if you hit a certain milestone that they're looking for you to do as an Evo, as a PTU tester. And then on PTUs, your account just has every ship unlocked, everything,
Yeah.
every reputation unlocked. You just get like a special account that is like a really good testing account. And,
Yeah.
after some time, if you're not reporting bugs, then that account
Maybe
goes
you
back to
downgrade a
normal.
level or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, because
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
that appeals to the tester type as well, and it doesn't break the experience for anyone else either.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So I would be cool with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else you want to go on before we let you go?
That's most of it. If people are looking to have Star Citizen faces made, I'm still doing that. I might get on and stream it in an hour or so.
Nice.
Yeah, yep. Other
right,
than
Chucks.
that, talk to you later.
Talk to you soon, man. Be good.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that's where I think we will leave the show then. The only other thing that I haven't mentioned and I should bring up is the new referral system. So it's pretty simple. They're giving you 50,000 UEC instead of 5 now. And there's going to be a lot more items on the list. It still comes across as pretty broken to me, where you're giving items to players that they cannot lose ever, that they're permanently locked on their account. You're giving ships that are permanently locked on your account. I'm literally playing on an empty account now because there's so much of this crap on my account that I can't look at it anymore. But in terms of giving rewards out to players consistently and early is great. They heard the feedback from us and said, okay, we are not going to get rid of the old leaderboard. We are going to keep it, or the reward track or whatever. We're going to keep it, and then you're going to be able to earn for both of them. So if you're close to a referral on one of the old ones, then you will be able to get that referral. The only people that I've seen complain about this are people that have very, very high referral reward numbers, and they just want more. And we'll see what they do. They could add future to the old track. They could add other rewards. We'll see what happens there. But these are some of the rewards, like city-related, Stanton City-related little trinkets and skins and things like that. So I don't know. I think it'll be kind of cool. I'm pretty excited for it. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments, I guess, because this is where we will be leaving it. So I do apologize for the short one. I do apologize for Static Croncy, but he wasn't able to make it. So whenever he's not, we have very, very in thought Croncy. So he gave a lot of his thoughts very quietly to me. He agreed with everything I said, as he always does. And that's where we'll leave it. So I do appreciate you guys watching the pod this week. And we'll catch you next week. All right. So be good, everyone. And look forward to talking to you guys next week. All right. Be good. Oh, yeah. And don't forget, I got to do it. I can't not do it. To answer the call.